Flatliners. Flatliners is a sci-fi horror movie that just came out this weekend. It's supposed to be a remake of the 90s Flatliners movie that came out. Did not see that. Probably should though, because this movie isn't good, but it actually is not good at all. It's not a movie about a group of people, you know, kill themselves to figure out like, is there life after death and everything? Could be very interesting. So I actually saw the movie and was like, you know what, this is a really interesting movie in the first 25%. Then the rest of the movie just pretty much turns into a cliche horror movie, grade C version of I Know What You Did Last Summer. Or more like, I always know what you did last summer, you know, that one, the shit one. It's my soul too. I was just like, oh, just another horror movie that just, when you walk out of the movie, pretty much be like, you know what, Annabelle Creation was actually better than this movie. Annabelle Creation of all things. Looking into the pros and cons, why I believe that Flatliners in theaters right now, if you have seen it, you probably are as disappointed as I am. Walk out of the movie just like, what the hell was this shit? What? For all the acting in the movie, I'm going to say the acting, Ellen Page is the only person I recognize in this movie, and she was okay in the part that she wasn't asleep in. And her acting was pretty functional, but her friends, the other co-actors in the movie were, they actually have no chemistry whatsoever, no character development in this movie at all throughout this whole thing. So it's just like, okay, when you people are like, you know, dying and shit, or going through this shit, I don't really care. There are parts of the movie where it's like, yeah, we could, you know, spend some time on actual character development and, you know, character chemistry, but no, it's just sex. Yeah, thanks a lot, Flatliners. Is there any and all tension that's happening in this movie I don't give two shits about, because I don't really know the characters enough to really get invested with them. I know there's a hot chick in the movie, so there's that. Plot in the movie, like I said, the movie opens up with Ellen Page's character, her and her sister, they're driving down the road and everything. She gets to tweeting and driving is never a good combination. And if she gets taken out, more or less her sister ends up dying, then jumps to 9 years later, she's a doctor and everything, or more or less a student training to be a doctor. And her and her friends and everything, more or less, is just like, yeah, I want to do these experiments or whatever for reasons, because, you know, I want it for reasons that weren't really explained in the movie. I mean, not explained that well anyway. And so she convinces her two colleagues to pretty much, you know, kill her, you know, flatline her. And so she can go into the afterlife and see, like, what's life like after death and everything. She experiences it. Then she comes out of it and her friends are pretty much like, you know what, we want to do that too. It was her friends flatline, and then they experience shit, and then more or less just turns into a cliche horror movie, and now their sins of their past are out to get them for reasons. And that's more or less your movie. For the movie, I'm going to say that the first 25% of the movie was very interesting and shit, because the way the movie just opens up and it just goes into it, you're just like, okay, we could be in for something. Like, that is an interesting premise. What will life be like after death? Like, if there's a white light, if there's heaven, if there's hell, like, what happens with that stuff? Very intrigued and very invested. And when it does initially happen, when she does do the first flat lie, and they're trying to bring her back to life and everything, I was like gripping my seat, like, oh, this is, hope she makes it. Like, this is just some serious shit. And then she does it and everything, and it's, oh, how wonderful. And then their friends is just like, yeah, we want to do it too. And then they do it, and they start experiencing shit that doesn't really make sense. It doesn't have any really good payoffs. Because again, their acting is just terrible, and the execution is terrible too, because they're having these sequences or whatever, these dream sequences in the flatline and stuff, that's just so cliche predictable. Literally, the main dude who had his flatline, I was just like, you know what, I know what his little subplot is, and I was right. Didn't even need to see the end of the movie to know what it was. And like I said, for the rest of the movie, it pretty much turns into a cliche horror movie, and now they're seeing shit down dark hallways, stuff like that. I was like, we pretty much interrupt your Flatliners, but city is for. Or I would literally sit in my chair just like, when did this turn into a horror movie? I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be a sci-fi psychological thriller. Nope, it was horror. And it shows like crazy. It was literally part of the movie I was like, this feels like I Know What You Did Last Summer. And when one of the characters pretty much establishes this, I was like, now the movie acknowledges that this is pretty much a rip-off of I Know What You Did Last Summer, or I Always Know What You Did Last Summer. So at the end of the day, Flatliners was not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a movie that's like, okay, a bunch of people, you know, they kill themselves and more or less experience what's life like after death, and they keep doing it more and more and get deeper and deeper and deeper, and you know, no shenanigans, stuff like that. It was going to be like that, but it wasn't. Part of me, it feels like, would I really recommend this movie to anybody? And the reviewer part of me is just like, no, don't do it. I could not put my stamp of approval on this at all. With that being said, I'm instantly going to say that Flatliners is indeed a 2 out of 10, which means you're not going to remember it at all. And that's all, guys. Subscribe. Until next time.